Hello, I'm Jason Borthwick and this is the Deepdale Podcast, our magazine programme about beautiful North Norfolk, where I chat with interesting people who love this part of the world. It's March 2026 and this month I have loads of guests, including Gary Pearson, a local photographer, Kate Southerland of Norfolk Oyster Shells, Ruby Goold of Girlguiding Norfolk, Richard Morris, the farm manager of Deepdale Farm, Stephanie Everitt of Joyful, and Debs Davison and Kate Gedge from the Nest Café Deepdale. If you are visiting this beautiful part of the world this spring, then you'd probably know that the wildlife is abundant, the events calendar is filling nicely, we'll be dancing the night away at the Deepdale Barn Dance, and the pop-up shops return to Dalegate Market. You can find a huge What's On list on our website at deepdalecamping.co.uk/events. And we are constantly adding to that list, so check back regularly for lots of excuses to visit again. If you do enjoy our podcast, then please leave a review on your favourite podcast app or directory, as those really help others find us.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender, see you next year.
Well, I'm Gary Pearson. I'm a photographer living in Titchwell in Norfolk. Been over here since 1990. I'm just about accepted by the locals now, but I'm originally a Lincolnshire yellowbelly from the other side of the wash at Boston.
Well, we are standing on the beautiful hard at Branxter Staithe. It's a wintry view. We are able to stand here, but we have got some layers on. You'll hear the seagulls flying around amongst the few boats that are left in the hard, and there really isn't very many of those at the moment at this time of year. There's a couple of yachts, a couple of little motorboats, and a couple of fishing boats. Everything else being packed away for the winter. Gary, you capture this beautiful place with the most fabulous photos and little videos and stuff. Have you always been a photographer?
Not always been a professional photographer. Started really when I was 6 years old. My grandfather gave me my very first camera, which was a little old box brownie way back in the 70s, and it sort of developed from there. I basically started getting more and more into my photography. By the time I was 9, I'd got my first professional camera, and by the time I was 11 I was developing my own films, back in the days when we had the great expense of doing that, although obviously nowadays digital cameras make the photography far more accessible to people. Since then I've sort of gone on in strength, from one strength to another. Gone professional now, been professional for about 5 or 6 years, semi-professional before that for probably another 5 or 6 years. And I suppose it's my passion as well. I do all sorts of photography, not just landscapes, but I do commercial photography. I take photographs of holiday cottages, I take photographs of events such as concerts, things going on at Sandringham. I photograph the King and Queen when they're sort of doing things like the flower show and things like that. So it's a bit of variety, a bit of everything really.
And what is it that, brought a Lincolnshire boy to the North Norfolk coast?
Back in those days I did something totally different. I was also a sales representative, and I worked for, dare I say it, a tobacco company, and I actually sold cigarettes, and it was back in the days when I myself also smoked, although I have to say thank God I packed that up a long time ago, and so my area became Norfolk, and I moved across this way with my job and also with my wife, and I've been here ever since. So 1990, now been here 36 years, and don't plan to move anywhere else, to be honest. We've sort of fallen in love with it and can't really imagine living anywhere else.
And if you had to pick your couple of favourite spots, it's always bad to kind of choose one, but if you picked your sort of favourite 2 or 3 spots on the North Norfolk coast, where would you put your money?
As far as coast is concerned, I would probably say certainly here in Brancaster Stave. Another favourite of mine, also because I go boating from there quite a lot, is actually Burnham Overy, and I take my little boat out to Scolt Head Island just for walks and also for my photography. But really everywhere along the North Norfolk coast is just stunning, and photographer's paradise.
Do you find yourself with your camera all the time? Is it like a sort of another arm, or is it? Do you actively kind of say, right, I'm not taking the camera this time, I'm just going out, and then you kind of go out with the camera especially?
It's very rare for me not to have my camera with me. It's sat in the back of my car this very moment. Well, both of my cameras are sat in the car at the moment. My drone is with me, which I use frequently. It is really like my right arm. And I don't know what I'd do without it. It's sort of my passion. It's something that I will always carry with me. And even if I haven't got my camera with me, which is very rare, I've always got my mobile phone, and that usually comes out and gets me out of a sticky situation.
Excellent. I know you do a full range of different photography, but what's your favourite subject?
It really has to be landscapes. I love night photography. I'm probably one of the few nutters that will be around here on the coast that sort of sometimes 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning taking photographs on a clear night, photographing maybe the northern lights on the rare occasions we get them down here on the North Norfolk coast, photographing other events like the meteor showers and things like that, but anything to do with landscapes, I just absolutely love it. It's just my passion. It's probably the thing that pays me the least money, but it's the thing I enjoy the most, and obviously I have to top my income up photographing other things such as events and people's houses and such like.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I think it's the nature of living on the North Norfolk coast, isn't it? You kind of have to make some money where you can make some money, and you have to enjoy the rest of it for what it is, and for what this beautiful space. So it is incredible. When you look up the harbour now, it's wild and woolly, but my God, it is stunningly beautiful, and it's very difficult not to kind of be in love with this part of the world, isn't it? Really, and even if it's just to stand here, feel quite fresh, and then go to a pub.
To be honest, I'd rather be outside doing the photography. It doesn't matter what the weather, storm, snow, rain. It's also variable, and I'm not one of these that sort of like just goes out photographing sunsets and sunrises. I like to do it any time of the day.
Yeah. Brilliant. And so if people want to follow you, kind of find out where your work is, that sort of thing, where should they go?
Well, I mean, a lot of my business actually comes from places like Facebook and Instagram, so you can find me on there. But just to make it easy, all you have to do is Google Gary Pearson photography, and you'll find me. I usually come back sort of in the tops of the listings, and you can usually find all my social media pages on there. Facebook is probably where I post most of my images, though.
Brilliant. Well, you'll see many of them reposted by us on our social media, on Deepdale Camping and Rooms as well. So hopefully that leads people to kind of find you and thing. And we'll also put all the links, all the relevant links on our blog post about this podcast. Thank you so much for meeting me on a. At least it's dry. It's cold.
Absolutely.
It's parky. It's beautiful, but it is at least dry day down here on Brancaster Stave Hard. Thank you so much for joining me.
No, thank you, Jason, and thank you to anybody that listens to, and a big thank you to all the people that follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and all my other social medias. I love hearing your comments. I love sort of the fact that you do take the time to comment and and look at my pictures, and I hope it brings you some joy.
Thank you, Gary. That's brilliant, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
I am with Kate Southerland, who we've known each other for a very, very long time.
Yes.
Kate runs a business called Norfolk Oyster Shells, but she is also a massive, massive fan of this beautiful part of the world, the beautiful North Norfolk coast. So we thought it'd just be nice to have a chat for the Deepdale podcast and find out sort of, a bit more about Norfolk Oyster Shells, but also a lot more about her favourite places on this fantastic stretch of coast. So welcome to Deepdale Podcast. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you very much, Jason. It's very nice to be here.
And so tell me a bit more. So you're a local resident, you live in the village. What is Norfolk Oyster Shells all about?
So I'm really into sustainability, and I work in a local restaurant and noticed that the oyster shells have been thrown away, and started researching, seeing what I could do with them. After a few failed attempts of making candles that didn't work, I decided to be the woman in the middle. So I basically take them home, wash them, sterilise them, and I sell them on Etsy. Started last year, opened up my shop in April. I've now had over 220 sales, and it's getting bigger, better. Definitely learnt things along the way, but it's hard work. Every afternoon I'm cleaning them, and then normally doing orders in the evening, as well as working at my local pub.
What do people buy the oyster shells for? Just to kind of have oyster shells, or to turn them into other things?
If so, they need name places for weddings, or they make them into trinket shells, jewellery, so they can like decoupage them, so make them look pretty with different, they put napkins on them.
Anybody who follows you on social media, if they look up Norfolk Oyster Shells, they can see all of the amazing little videos that you put visiting all over the coast. You, like me, are a local. You've loved this place. If you had to pick kind of 2 or 3 of your favourite places along the coast, what would you choose?
I really love Wells. I love that it's a small fishing village. I love the harbour. The beach is amazing. The beach huts all lined up, really, really pretty. The woods, I love walking through the woods. You can do like a 2-hour walk through the woods, then come along the beach. So Wells and Brancaster are my favourite beaches. Brancaster, I love it because you can see the seals if you're lucky. But how I came to start doing the videos of Norfolk, I did one video that was coming over from the Common down to Brancaster, and I had 17,000 views, and thought people just really liked it. So what I do is I just video the road my husband drives, and then I show about 1.5 minutes. There's Blakeney, Cly, Wells, unedited, as you're driving along the road with some beautiful music. And the response I have is just incredible. People message me just saying thank you for bringing back memories. They've got memories of their family, of their dogs, and it's just really lovely. I really like doing it. It takes me 2 or 3 hours a day to reply to everyone, and I feel like I've made so many new friends, which is crazy because that's not what I intended to do. But I love showing Norfolk unedited as it is, not all these. You have people that show beautiful photos, going out for lunch. That's not what I do. I just show the road as it is.
Yeah, I think there's something about the natural beauty of this beautiful place that just needs to be shown in a really fascinating way. And I think your videos remind me a lot of Rosie Newport's from the Accidental Wonky Bank Company. Yeah. They're kind of real videos showing real stuff that's happening, you know, and it's not that Instagram photo. We laugh. We do quite a lot of traveling, and I love watching Instagrammers taking their Instagram videos, because of course what appears on the feed is this beautiful photo with everything in the right place. What nobody sees, which I think I need to start a feed of showing the other side, where they're screaming at their photographer for not getting it right, or they're doing their 3,000th photo because the wind blew or it started raining, or somebody was actually sullying their photo by enjoying the same place that they're clearly trying to promote, which is hilarious. And are you finding that this is kind of a whole different angle than you expected from actually just selling the oyster shells?
Yeah, it's definitely taken over. Nobody wants to see oyster shells, but a lot of people want to see the Norfolk coast, the North Norfolk coast. So I don't really know where I'm going to take this. I mean, my oyster shells I'll still sell through my Etsy shop, but the Norfolk coastal journeys is definitely going in a different direction. I've gone from 450 followers to 4,300 followers in 2 months. It's just gone, and I had 1 million views last month. So the idea is to eventually try and make some money through that. So people can actually send me little stars if they want to support my business, and then Facebook will match it. There's other things. People can subscribe to my channel as well. There's a lot to learn.
And I guess with those numbers, you might be able to kind of become an official creator on things like YouTube and stuff, where you can get sort of paid in a different way, can't you? So it's hard, because you're creating the content because it's a place you love, but then it becomes a job in itself to kind of create that content, and if you haven't got a way to draw in kind of interesting thing, and the followers are lovely and the comments are lovely, but they don't necessarily pay the bills, do they?
No, so I have to keep things into perspective. But with me, if I have an idea, I go all in. So I just have to really remember, because anything that I do, I go all in, and it takes over, not consumes me, but I just need to remember, what is the goal? Where am I going with this? What do I want? Eventually, I would love to be a content creator. So I'm Norfolk Oyster Shells on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. You'll be able to see all my videos there. And on my Facebook page, I have all of my videos of my coastal journeys, so you can see all of them. Come and join the community. So we've got a little album which is going to be filled with people's photos from the Norfolk coast, so showing the coast from their eyes. So I'm building a community, so people can send in photos, so for other people to see. Just people love the Norfolk coast and just want to see it as it is, in the natural beauty, no editing, just as it is, really.
Fantastic. So basically everything sits on sort of Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and it's down as Norfolk Oyster Shells. So if they search for that, they'll find it, or Kate Southerland, and away they go. Well, that is brilliant. We'll put links to all of your stuff on our blog about we will watch your journey with interest, literally the journey, but how that develops and where it goes. And it's the videos are fab, and we'll keep reposting them. And so thank you for posting them.
Thank you very much for reposting them too. And it's lovely to be part of the community and sharing Norfolk coastal journeys. So thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you again soon. I'm chatting with Ruby Goold about girl guiding. She's going to tell us a lot more about what she does. And for anybody who has a daughter in their life or who wants to volunteer, this is a fantastic way of seeing some of the wider world, from everything from rainbows and brownies to guides and rangers. And I'm sure Ruby will tell us an awful lot more about it. Welcome to Deepdale Podcast.
Hi there, thank you.
So tell me, what exactly is your role?
So currently I'm Division Commissioner for North Norfolk, but as every Girl Guiding volunteer knows, we all hold many hats and many roles. And as volunteers, we all take part in Girl Guiding to make sure all our girls learn new skills, have fun, and really grow into resilient, compassionate, and empowered young people. In my current role as Division Commissioner, we have 3 districts in North Norfolk, and they have funny names, but they're called Freebridge Lynn, Gallow, Smithton, and Brothercross. And they range from Sandringham, Dersingham, Snettisham, Hunstanton, Docking, through to Fakenham. Anyone can find a unit close to them if they go on the Girl Guiding website.
Fantastic. And so, girls can be involved from sort of age 4 till sort of 18. Is that right? They can be involved.
Yeah, I mean,
and then I guess you can have volunteers of almost any age.
Yes, I mean, our rainbows, brownies, guides, and rangers run from 4 right up to 18. But then we have roles throughout the whole of an adult membership's life. And at the very final, there's a trefoil. And the ladies, they still take part in our activities and they do their own fun things and learn new skills too. So we call it the Girl Guiding family, and it really is. And there's people all over United Kingdom and globally with our WAGS movement. So there's people everywhere involved in Girl Guiding, and we really do welcome new people in to volunteer or as young members.
If you're a young girl and you're thinking, you want to go and do something a bit different, and what sort of stuff can you expect to do through the Girl Guiding Network? What sort of things do different age groups do?
Starting off with rainbows, which is our youngest, 4 to 7, and going through the different units, it really does progress into many different skills and just so many fun opportunities, really. As you progress upwards, you get to do camps and sleepovers, as well as all your normal unit once weekly meetings where we do all different crafts, we learn new skills, we visit loads of different places, but also we do international trips as well. So as they progress up through, they get to go away and really experience things they never would get to do normally. And I always think of it, it's not school, it's not home, it's this other place where they get to be themselves and really learn and have fun and make new friends. So it really is a positive experience in everyone's life.
Have you been involved for a very long time?
No, actually, I was a brownie as a young girl, and then I didn't go back to Girl Guiding. I left, and since I've become an adult, I've looked at volunteer opportunities, and I thought, well, that really did give me skills for life, and I loved it. So yeah, joined back. I've now only been in North Norfolk for 5 years, and I've got many hats from Snettisham Brownies leader. I'm also an inclusion lead for Girl Guiding Anglia, and now North Norfolk Division Commissioner. But as we're all a family, we do all help each other out. And so there's so many opportunities for adult members too. Last year I went to Romania on an inclusion trip. And this year we're taking part in the Sandringham RHS Flower Show, which we're all very excited about. As our division, we're the boots on the ground doing the hard work, and we're creating a very large feature garden that will attract many people from not only in Girl Guiding, but we've got VIPs, we've got the BBC. It's so special to be involved with the RHS as it's the first time they've been to a royal residence. And King Charles III is now actually their patron, so it's very special. And this year he has his own legacy garden there that will stay at Sandringham, and he's brought out a biodiversity award, which we have our fingers crossed, and we're working towards that. The garden itself is 80 meters square. It's a very big one.
Wow,
We
that's
have
huge.
girls, yeah, it's huge. And we're running through different badges, from the bee rescuer badge to biodiverse, gardening, grow your own, all skills that girls would learn in their general unit meetings. We're bringing together in a garden. We also have a camp area, which is traditionally Girl Guiding. We have our camp blankets, sing, song, fun, marshmallows, all of that camping. But in the garden as well itself, we have the girls making bug houses, a bee house. We're also learning new skills this year of willow weaving. So we have a wigwam that the girls are going to be willow weaving snails and leaves too. So it's a real effort from everyone, and all the adult members and girls are there for a week-long show at the end of July at actually Sandringham. Everyone is welcome, everyone's involved, and it is inclusive. And the girls, what they learn and the amount of fun that they have, it is amazing to watch. And I think that's probably why us adult volunteers do it. Like last year, we went to Lenwade, the bug park. And it was so much fun, a day just of fun. And we watched butterflies being born, and it was just amazing. And the girls just loved it, every part of it. So every activity we do always brings something new. Also, last year for World Thinking Day, we did a massive sleepover at Linsport, a local sports centre. There was 150 of us, and we did so many different activities, from climb wall to Ninja Warrior, and then did a massive disco. So yeah, the options are endless, and every adult leader in every unit thinks of new ideas. So they work on the theme badges, but we do other stuff as well. So everything's possible.
If you wanted to volunteer, which I know is something that every organisation is always looking for, you guys are always looking for more volunteers to come and help out. Can it be male and female volunteers, or is it just ladies?
We do have a selection of different roles, and it doesn't just mean that you have to go every week for a unit leader. We have helpers. We also have people in the background who like to organise things or fundraise, for example. There's admin roles, there's support roles, there is everything, and it's really flexible too. So I think the main thing, if someone's interested, they need to go to the Girlguiding main site. And on there, you'll get a choice of when are you available, what type of things would you like to do, what area. And then, honestly, there is everything. There's so many different opportunities in Girlguiding.
If they're looking for more information, it's girlguiding.org.uk. Is that right? And they just follow the represented links. And that's whether you want to sign up your daughter to join any level of Girlguiding, which is Rainbows 4 till 7, Brownies 7 till 10, Guides 10 till 14, and Rangers 14 to 18.
Yes, that's correct. They can sign up.
And then also for any volunteer positions, that's also the place to sign up for those. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. There's everything on there. And you can also look through all the different activities we run as well.
Fantastic. And I guess you can see quite easily where your nearest Brownies or Rainbows or Guides or Rangers sort of groups are.
It'll ask you sort of what you're most interested in, because obviously we do have the different units, but also it will say what areas, and there is a unit absolutely everywhere. You won't not find a unit that needs help as well. So please do sign up.
Brilliant. Well, so lovely to speak to you, Ruby. Thank you for joining me on the Deepdale podcast. Really lovely to have you with me. We really look forward to seeing you at the Sandringham show. That'll be wonderful. Really exciting that the RHS are coming to Sandringham, and really fantastic that you guys have got such a big garden, are going to be such an integral part of that. I think it'll be fascinating.
Also, if anyone would like to follow our journey, because our garden at RHS is called the Girlguiding Journey, we have an Instagram set up, and you can follow our what we're doing, how we're building the garden. People are donating. It really is a community feel, and we're really lucky because we've been supported by some local companies too. So their details will be on there. So on Instagram at the Girlguiding Journey, all one word. And we'd love for you to follow us along and come visit us, because we're having a scavenger hunt. There'll be freebies and goodie bags, and we really look forward to seeing everyone there.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. And what dates is the Sandringham show?
July the 22nd to the 26th this year.
Well, we really look forward to seeing you at Sandringham. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast, and continue doing great things with the Girlguiding.
Thank you, Jason. Bye.
Richard Morris. I'm probably a dinosaur, really, but yeah, been farming all my life, and I've worked in a couple of other industries mainly for my own interest rather than necessity. I grew up and left school in sort of the mid-70s, and my main sort of inspiration for going into farming was because I loved nature and loved being outdoors, and that was the driver. But something weird happened, which I've never understood. In the 70s, there was huge excitement in farming for new technology. So fertilizers, sprays, the number of products coming onto the market was huge. The enthusiasm to increase yields was incredible. And I fell into that trap. So like everyone else at college, all my colleagues and friends got carried away with this whole philosophy about industrialised farming, about increasing yields. How many tonnes of potatoes can we get per hectare? Which depended on how much nitrogen we put on. And we were very close, the farm I worked on was very close to UKF Fertilisers in Cheshire at the time. And they came to us one day and said, we want to do some trials on potatoes. And they said, we will give you the nitrogen. You put more and more on the potatoes to see how far you can push yield. And that was it. We had free product. And they wanted us to push and push and push. Increase the yields, which was great. You know, it kept the price down for the public. But there was no comprehension at all of where that nitrogen was going or what damage it was doing. And if you know, those of you who have been around since the 70s, think back about what happened in the countryside, the loss of farmland birds, the loss of invertebrates, frogs around ponds, they all disappeared. And that was mainly because of what we were doing on farms. And it wasn't just, you know, nitrogen use or pesticide use. At the time, when I started, we only had two-wheel drive tractors. And the weather conditions dictated what work we did on the farm in the day. Through the late 70s, early 80s, they developed, the engineers, very clever engineers, developed these four-wheel drive tractors, which suddenly give humans the ability to work land at all times of year when it necessarily wasn't fit to work. You talk to some old soil scientists now, and they consider that's the period where soils in the UK started degrading because we were working them when they weren't fit. And because we had four-wheel drive, we had high horsepower, we started using heavier machinery and the soil got compacted. You sort of think back now, it actually makes a lot of sense. And sort of the movement now that, you know, some people say it's a trend or it's just fashionable, but this whole idea of regenerative farming is about going, not necessarily going back, but looking at those old principles and working with them so that the whole environment improves and that the soil condition improves and that the quality and taste and vitality of food improves. So, you know, in my lifetime, I've seen this huge change. And going back to my own story, you know, I worked away on those conventional farms till about the mid-20s. I joined the National Trust in 2007, and embarrassingly for the trust, the farm it was managing was hugely degraded in a really poor condition. And my challenge, what the directors at the trust said was, you know, don't be embarrassed, don't try and hide what the situation is, but do something about it. You've got to improve it. So that was when we took that farm into organic conversion. And that's how I've been farming principally for the sort of last 20 years. And hence my interest in Deepdale, my excitement about coming here and the opportunities to share my experience with the Deepdale team and hopefully together move forward.
So I'm sitting in the farm office at Deepdale Farm and I am chatting to Richard Morris. He is our farm manager and he has been working here for not quite a year yet. It was a massive baptism of fire when he came on site, just as it was when my sisters took over the farm, when I stepped back. I think it's a challenge that he is relishing in many ways, probably goes home some days and goes, oh my God, what have I done? He is really stamping his mark, a really positive mark on Deepdale and what it is that we've been trying to do here, kind of following on from my original conversion to organic and, you know, with regenerative farming at the heart of that, really. I've always described myself as organic with a small o. It was a great advantage to go organic because we could get a big stewardship scheme which could help us repair the soils. And now Richard is dealing with taking on that amateurish version that I put in place, understanding the new and interesting developments that are coming out from DEFRA's various rules that they're developing now that we're no longer part of the EU, and working out what will work on Deepdale in all the various different guises. So where are we at this point in the year with farming?
There's two answers really to that. To sort of the bit of the backstory is, and don't do yourself an injustice. You took good advice and did the right things at the time 5 years ago when you went through that huge change and started moving the farm forward. Now, through that countryside stewardship scheme that you went into in the organic conversion, you immediately stopped the degradation of the soils and started improving them. That's one of my challenges now, is to take that good work and continue that story to keep things moving in that direction. So there's a whole backstory there about how we do that. The other side, the other answer really, is what we're doing actually physically on the farm at the moment. It's springtime. It's been raining non-stop for the whole of February. So it's really, and I've sat in this office maybe the last 2 weeks and got really frustrated that I want to be out on the fields doing things. But we don't want to be out there when it's so wet that the ground's saturated. So we have to wait. We have to be patient. But we should be sowing our spring cereals. The start of that process is ploughing over our fertility builders, getting them buried, and then moving forward, working the ground, getting some good seed beds, getting the oats sown. And then once they're in the ground, then I start thinking about the other jobs that we have to do around the farm in the springtime. Some of the conservation areas need work. Our OP2, for example, which is the winter bird seed mix, which is a mix we put in every 2 years, grows high quality seed of a huge variety, so it suits lots of different types of birds. It gives them an interesting diet, and it supports them through the winter months. That you have to resow every 2 years to keep to a reasonable standard. So that's one of the things we've got to do this year. And then our fertility building crops, that's the phase in organic production where you build nitrogen in the soil and put some of the nutrients back. They need some TLC. So some of them need a sort of top dressing, a bit more seed. Some of them need topping, getting ready so that as soon as the soil warms, once the soil's getting towards sort of 10, 12 degrees, they will be ready to jump out the ground. And when they're growing, that's when they're producing the nitrogen and the nutrients, and they bring nutrients up from deep and they make it available for the following crops. So that's all that. Looking after the fertility building phase in organic farm is almost as important as the cereal phase. You've got to put the same amount of dedication into both. So it's a very, I couldn't work in a country where we didn't have 4 seasons. I love all 4 seasons. I tend to get a little bit bored towards the end of each one, and I get really excited about the start of the next one. So it's sort of, that's why I couldn't live somewhere where they only had 2. But no, it's a lovely time. You sort of wake up in the morning and it's just coming light, and you just have a natural enthusiasm to get up and get on with it. And when it keeps raining and it holds you back, you get quite frustrated.
And so today you've been playing with a new plough sort of option, kind of having looked to see whether that's suitable. I wasn't sure when we were sort of first putting all the sort of the beetle banks in and the all the sort of set aside stuff, whether we would be going back to the plough. But it's clearly a very important part of the farming process, and this is a special one. Then it doesn't dig as deep, is that right? And it allows us to turn over the soil, but without kind of really ripping into the hopefully the growing sort of wee beasties and everything else sort of lower down. Is that a layman's way of putting it?
Yeah, it's very easy to look back and say, what have we done? So you think for, 800 years, 1,000 years, we've been ploughing with oxen, we've been ploughing with horses. And they've managed to turn over very heavy land and turn it into a decent seed bed where they get a crop. And that is really hard work with a horse or an ox. But what they were doing is ploughing very shallow. If you go and look at go to an agricultural show and watch the heavy horses ploughing, they're only ploughing the top 4 inches of the soil. So going back to what I said before about the high horsepower, the 4-wheel drive tractors, that's allowed farmers to use bigger and bigger machines, heavier machines, and to get a plough to work for width and to use up that horsepower, they've gone deeper. So that if you think of an A4 piece of paper, what they've been able to do is get that A4 piece of paper and completely invert it with a modern plough. So what that does, it takes the top 4 inches of soil, which is where your aerobic bacteria and vertebrates and things live. Below that, you've got sort of 5 or 6 inches of anaerobic layer where bacteria, non-oxygen needing bacteria live. And then with those ploughs, you completely turn them on their heads. So you bury the aerobic and they've got no oxygen, so they can't live. And you expose all the anaerobic to the oxygen, so they can't live. So we have been using these ploughs, thinking we're brilliant, thinking we're really clever, and actually degrading the soil, taking the life out of the soil. The other big disadvantage of a modern plough is it exposes all the organic matter in the soil. In that top 10, 12 inches of soil, it exposes it to oxygen and it oxidates and it disappears. Now, organic matter is simply the most important thing that's in the soil for whatever reason. It should be locked in, so it locks in a lot of carbon, which is great for humans, and it also forms the sort of the basis around everything that lives in the soil. Needs all that organic matter for food source, for its activity, whatever it's doing. So our main aim is to stop ploughing deep and start ploughing only in that organic oxygenated layer, so that we're ploughing shallow. That way we're leaving everything where it should be. We're reducing the amount of organic matter that's exposed to oxidation, so the organic matter improves, the soil biology improves, and simply as well, if you plough 10 inches deep, that's a huge weight of soil to turn over compared to just turning over 4 inches. So the power requirement is a lot less. So you can work with a wider machine, you can work a lot faster using less horsepower, so you're saving diesel. So whichever, whether you look at economically or from a carbon point of view, huge improvements all around. Now there are technologies out there now. There's no-till farming, there's min-till farming where they do minimum till, but they all rely on glyphosate to control the weeds. That's a sort of a potent spray that's applied that controls weeds. We're organic, we don't have that. So we have to use more cultural methods, which is why the plough is very important to us. And that's it. So we've got to plough, but we want to plough in a way that's friendly to the soil and to nature.
So in terms of this year, what crops are going to be grown on Deepdale Farm?
We're now falling into rotation, what we in the organic farming call a 5-year rotation. So we start with a fertility builder, so that's 2 years of grasses and legumes. And as I mentioned before, their job is to build nutrient in the soil, build nitrogen, and draw up those phosphates and potashes, mineralise those out of the soil so they're ready for the following crop. So we've 2 years of fertility builder, and then we have a 3-year cereal rotation, which is spring wheat, rye, winter rye, and spring oats. So the wheat, we'd always follow the fertility builder first. Wheat it's probably the most popular cereal across the globe. Huge demand, huge market for it. But we want to focus on quality wheat, so a high protein that goes for baking and carries all those nutrients with it. Wheat's also wheat is like your Formula One car. If you give it an analogy, if it doesn't have the nitrogen, it won't grow. If it doesn't have those nutrients supporting it, it won't grow. If it doesn't have water, it falls over. It's got to have a massive support system behind it to be able to function. So that's why we grow the wheat first in the rotation. The rye follows quite nicely as a winter crop. That means we sow it in the autumn, and it is happier with a lower level of nitrogen in the soil, but it will give us a sort of good, strong, valuable crop. The beauty of rye is it grows very quick. It's very aggressive, probably another word. So it dominates the weeds. So we come out of a grass phase, the fertility building phase, as quite a clean soil. By the time we've grown the wheat doesn't compete very well with weeds. So the weeds sort of come along underneath, and once the wheat gets harvested off the top, the weeds are there. And even though we're ploughing it, they still come back quite quickly. But the rye will give us that sort of boost, that aggressive boost, and it helps to suppress the weeds. And then we follow that with oats. Now, the beauty of oats is that they're quite robust. So they're very good at scavenging whatever's left in the soil. So in third place in the rotation, it's a long way away from the fertility building phase, but they can work and they find that nutrient that they need to grow. And my personal favourite cereal, in that I just love eating porridge. So there's the real good output. And oats are hugely valuable nutritionally in our diet. So they fit quite nicely third place in the rotation, but equally important.
And is there anything sort of other sort of unusual crops that we're sort of slotting in at various points, or are we tending to stick to just those three crops?
At the moment, at this stage in our conversion, so we're sort of year 6 in the organic conversion, we are still finding our way. So it's a really interesting, the next 5 years is an interesting phase in that over the last 5 years, we've not added any extra fertiliser. So no nitrogen, no phosphate, no potash. So we're finding now that our indexes, that's the levels of available nutrient in the field, is dropped off to its lowest level. What we grow going forward depends on our ability to bring those nutrients or make them available to the plant. So we're going through this quite a big learning phase. Our soil type is very light, so very sandy soil. The problem with sandy soils is they wash out, so anything that's there gets washed out very quickly. So things like peas and beans, legumes that would normally fit well as a third or even fourth place in a rotation because they bring their own nitrogen with them, they just won't grow on this soil. We'll struggle I think we'd always struggle, and it's been a challenge in the past. There are some potentially really interesting crops going forward, things that are coming back more into fashion, is again gaining popularity. There are things like camellia seeds, again grown for oil. There's some things I wouldn't dare grow. There is quite a good market for quinoa, but also oilseed rape, organic oilseed rape oil. But the problem with all these things is anything that has a small seed, when it goes through combine harvester to be harvested, combines are great things and they're incredibly expensive and they're very well engineered, but they leak crop. So even when we're sort of big seeds like wheat and oats, we lose maybe 10% one way or the other out of the machine. If you lose that quantity of small seeded things, you've got a massive problem with volunteers coming back in your next crop. Yeah. So you get this contamination. I've grown borage on an organic farm once, and the borage was there. It's probably still there 10 years later. It's a horrific stuff. It just self-sets itself. So no, we from a sort of an economic point of view and from a way of balancing nutrients, we need to look at all sorts of opportunities, but a very cautious approach. One of the interesting markets is lentils. Hugely important to the human diet, becoming quite fashionable again, and there's a growing market, but they're quite easy to grow. They're really hard to harvest. Getting them at the right stage, harvesting them when they're ready is quite difficult, and it often can be quite late, September, early October, which in the UK is getting very late for trying to combine a dry cereal because they just get that moisture out of the air. So some exciting things, but I have to err on the side of cautiousness to make sure we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's really, really interesting. It's fabulous to have a nice farming update from the farm where we're based. Thank you for joining me on the podcast.
It's a pleasure, Jason. Thanks very much. And the farm is really quite beautiful. I'm sure it probably was more than 5 years ago, but you sort of look across it now, you see the nature, the wildlife you've got, and the condition of the hedges really good. One of those visible things you can see that demonstrates the health of the farm. If they're big and alive and healthy, it's a great indicator of the general condition of the farm. So no, it's a beautiful place to work, and I'm so far thoroughly enjoying it.
Thank you for chatting with me. I'm sitting in the sitting room. We were going to meet up in West Shop, but there's quite a lot of renovation going on and a lot of painting, and we thought, let's just escape from that for the moment. And I am with Stephanie, our newest member of the Dalegate Market sort of Deepdale crew. She has taken West Shop, which is the other end of the granary building in Burnham Deepdale, and she is opening what is going to be a wonderfully joyful shop, funnily enough, because of course it's going to be called Joyful. And she's sitting with me here. She's not a natural podcaster, she's told me, so I am going to have a chat with her about what we can expect from this new addition to the site. So welcome to Deepdale Podcast, and welcome to Deepdale, Stephanie.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, Jason. Very excited about what's going on in the next few weeks.
So you've been to Deepdale before, haven't you? Because you've been in the pop-up shops in the past.
Yep, that's right. Last summer, I did about 5 or 6 weeks in the pop-up shops with my crystals and various bits and pieces. And yeah, it was very successful. It was received very well.
And now you're going to be a permanent member of the Dalegate Market Deepdale group. Tell people what they can expect from Joyful. If they walk in, what are they going to see and find?
Okay, when you come into Joyful, you are going to see a huge array of beautiful crystals, minerals, rocks and fossils from all around the world. And you will also be seeing some beautiful aromatherapy products for skincare, essential oils, simply for burning. And we will be doing some fused glass, which will be provided by one of the other pop-up shop holders, Jan from Busy Box Room. And we'll be doing some lovely plants as well.
Are you a Norfolk lass permanently anyway?
I wasn't born and bred in Norfolk, but I have been here since 1983, so I feel like I'm almost local now, yes.
Yeah.
Incidentally, you may not know this, when I first came to Norfolk in 1983, I actually hired a West Cottage from your parents, so I lived on Deepdale Farm when I first came here.
Oh, well, there you go. You sort of know Burnham Deepdale well, and you're kind of, you live locally, so you kind of, you know the area really well. I think my father was once told by a fisherman that if he hadn't sold mussels to the Romans, he wasn't a local. So that makes most of the people who live here not locals. Are you planning on being open sort of every day? Is that the general plan?
Yes, that is the general plan, that we'll be open 7 days a week, perhaps in the winter months, perhaps January next year we may cut down to 4 or 5 days a week.
That's brilliant. Well, I really hope you're very happy as our newest addition to the site, and it's lovely to have you with us. Thank you so much. So I am talking to mother and daughter team who are going to be behind the Nest Café at Deepdale. And I have Debs and Kate with me, and I want them to say hello and tell me a little bit about what's happening with the cafe.
Hi, I'm Debs. I'm the mother part of the duo, and as Jason's already said, we've been working so hard the last month with a real combination of family and friends, and who we couldn't have done any of this without, because they've just been amazing. So the refurb is going really well. As Jason's already said, loads of painting gone on, deep cleaning of everything. Yeah, just putting our own stamp on it and making it somewhere that's going to be really welcoming for people to come to, hopefully.
What's the biggest success in the last month?
I would say completely transforming what's in our heads on our kind of vision board and our ideas for the place, and actually seeing it come to life. And
there's lots of definitions of cafe, not necessarily definitions, but lots of versions of cafe when you go into a town or on the North Norfolk coast. What can people expect from a visit to the Nest?
I think the one thing that we want to achieve is, Katie and I have always loved cooking and being in a position to serve people, to feed people. So for us, I think it's wanting it to be almost an extension of what we do at home for family and friends, and for it to be somewhere that's affordable as well. There's such a variety of eating places along the coastline, from kind of the gastro pubs to the more sort of niche cafes and things, but we want to be somewhere that is more sort of homely and a lot of homemade stuff, and affordable for families.
What sort of things are you going to be on offer?
So we're going for a full breakfast menu. So you can expect your typical full English breakfast. We've got some brunch options on there. We've also going for light lunches, so your sandwiches, jacket potatoes, your soup of the day, things that are really accessible to everyone so that you know what you're getting and you can expect to have something really good quality. And as Mum was saying, our USP really is that things are home baked. We want to be able to keep that in-house as much as possible and serve the things that we have lovingly made.
You guys have been involved with Deepdale for a few years now. You've kind of met people. You've been running your horse box here for a lot of events and through the summer holidays. And have you found that's useful in terms of developing your ideas for the cafe going forward?
Yeah, very much so, because I think it's from starting small for us in the horse box and having that time and space to engage with people has meant that we've had lots of feedback on what we've done in the horse box. So I think it's quite a natural progression to think about how we expand the offering in the cafe based on what our regulars have said about what we've served so far. So that's been really helpful. And also, having been here for 3 years now, it's given us a good opportunity to get to know a lot of the local people, and we've had a lot of support from them, which is really kind of reflected on the feedback with all the social media posts that we've done since the start of the renovation. And so a lot of encouragement from that, which going forward helps you make the right choices with regard to what you offer in the cafe.
Yeah. Are you guys cooking, or are you going to have a team behind you?
We initially will be starting off as the dream team that we are, just the duo, but we will be looking to expand our team and making sure that we've got the right people for the kind of vibe that we're going for. Obviously, we're quite particular in how we've run our business and how we want to present the business to the general public. So we're hoping that we can expand the team into getting even more amazing people behind us to serve and really spread what we're doing in the cafe.
Come and enjoy some of the lovely food. I wish you the best of luck. We're all very excited about it. The buzz you've created on your social media has been fantastic. Lots of people commenting on it. If people want to know more, they can head to the Dalgate Market website and click on the Nest Café logo and find out a bit more information. Instagram, if they want to follow your developments, what's the Instagram address?
It's the Nest Café _Deepdale, and we've been posting all of the journey updates on there and all of the exciting things that we've been doing. So definitely the best place to get your information.
Good luck, ladies. I hope it is absolutely fantastic. It's lovely to have you both involved permanently here at Deepdale. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Deepdale Podcast. We enjoy putting this together and always love to hear your comments and suggestions. Please email podcast@deepdalepodcast.co.uk, and if you know someone you think we should chat to, please ask them to get in touch. There is a large back catalogue of episodes, and you can find them on any good podcast app or directory by searching Deepdale Podcast, or go to our website deepdalepodcast.co.uk. And do leave a review for us on your favourite podcast app or directory, as those really help others find us. Have a great start to spring, and we'll be back again soon.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of samphire sea, lavender. See you next year.